Never mind.
No. I want you to talk crazy, Joel.
Uh-huh.
Talk insane. I would take it to whatever type of place you want to.
Thought about that, and then I looked at the top left corner of my screen, and I thought, oh, maybe it's a trap. As
it
Admiral
might
Akbar would say, it's a
it
trap.
might be a trap.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. We're here to talk about shooting. On deck tonight, we have Joel Park
Hello.
and Professor Kim.
Hi.
My
Yeah, you
Korean
guys
brother.
know the deal. Everybody comes here with a topic, something to talk about. Um, you know what, Mr. Kim, why don't you go first?
Yes, I wanted to share something with everybody, kind of shooting related. So now all the millennials have really bad postures. I think many people will agree due to computer generation, smartphone generation. This is something that I did both through my physical therapist and personally in my daily life to actually fix the posture, and it really helped in terms of shooting as well. Uh, so first, I had motorcycle accident and all, so I had really bad the curvature of my spine too. So my natural posture before was my shoulders struck kind of up and forward, which tensed up a lot of the traps and lock up my neck a little bit. And then as I was practicing the target transition, having my vision target, especially wide transition when we have to turn our head, it was kind of first it was straining my muscle because I had not big mobility in terms of how far I can turn my head. That was one thing. And also that trap tension was really slowing down my head movement too in a wider transition. So my physical therapist had me go over a couple exercises. One of them was just standing against the wall to keep my shoulder more of a neutral place and fixing that issue. So I was actually trying to apply that into shooting and in my regular life, especially when I'm looking at my phone or doing computer. I was making sure my shoulders are not shrugged up and forward, especially when I was like eating too. Like I have my elbow on the table and then shrug my shoulder all the way up, tensing my traps, having tight muscles in the general area. And I think a lot of the people during this time, especially when there's no ammo, using your changing your daily life habit, it actually can help you shooting better too, relaxing and gaining more mobility. uh, so that was one example, and another one is like I had flat-footed very badly too growing up, and having that ankle more straight up and having a better ankle support, ankle stability, those things really changed me. And I think this time where you may not even want to pick up guns because you don't have ammo, some people, I think, pretty sure some people have that issue. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be, yes, you don't necessarily have to have a gun in your hand to train something to aid your shooting. So I would say, like, try with the posture first. And having a good posture and having the shoulder more neutral, relaxed position rather than shrugging up. And they can bring out a lot of the good things. Target transition maybe perhaps being more precise because your shoulder is more relaxed position, neutral position, and being able to turn your head more freely. I would suggest people to start thinking of like what I can do in my daily life in small downtimes. In small downtimes, you can just check your posture, or maybe you can do the wrist locking exercise to have wrist locking sensation more familiar and firing hand tension more relaxed. So if you have a lot of the tension in your body or wrong posture, they can definitely affect shooting. So I would recommend people using small times here and there to fix those body structure things too.
Well, it's very sensible advice as always, Mr. Kim.
Thank you.
How long you been working on this? Did you say?
Actually, I started visiting chiropractor twice a week, 2014. But 2017 is when I actually met a good physical therapist. Before it was more of a chiropractor trying to fix my body, but actual uh, exercises were developed from 2017. So before I still had the bad posture, but I would go to chiropractor to just make my body pop, the bones pop, rather than actually fixing the core problem by
Man, you've been
exercising
a
properly.
mess for a long time.
Very long time. I had over a dozen motorcycle accidents. Yeah. growing up in Asia, riding motorcycle is straight gateway to heaven or hell.
Well,
Yeah.
Kim, to put you on the spot a little bit, I remember hearing in an interview something like you were researching even how to run correctly. Is that right? Am I remembering that
Yes,
correctly?
that's
Yeah.
one thing too. Yes,
That's pretty incredible, like how far you've came.
We
thank you.
call him the professor, man.
That is why we call him the professor. He's always paying attention, always learning stuff.
Yeah. Well, you want me to go now, guys?
Yes, please.
That sounds good.
Well, I think this maybe you guys are in a similar boat. I got to start shooting live fire this week. Isn't that amazing?
That is excellent.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Well, it's actually early in the year for this, to be honest. Typically, it's mid-April when I can start shooting outdoors, and it's nice. So I've gone, I don't know, 5 months probably without getting to train properly. And that happens every year, and it's very nice to get out and shoot again. So I got to do all those fun drills that you would do if you're learning to get acclimated to recoil again.
Mhm.
Sure, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Tell me more. So, like gun handling, like standard exercises, marksmanship fundamentals.
Not even standard exercises. Do we have another guy joining us? Jason
Yeah.
Bradley's
Oh,
here.
good looking, bro.
We're
Hey,
already
what's up,
recording,
guys?
Jason. So try to keep your, whatever things you were going to say. Transphobia, I would assume. But whatever crazy shit you're going to say, just keep it on the down low.
Yeah. Jason, we're talking about Ben started live firing, and now I'm grilling him about what he's doing to get, like acclimated to the gun going. All these controlled explosions in the front of his face, basically.
Joel, I'm actually glad that you mentioned that. So gun handling, so it's still cold outside. And I'm not really acclimated to shooting a whole lot. So I think for this phase of my training, it's not that helpful to do like 4 aces or fast gun handling exercises because I'm like right now, I'm not going to get the times I want. I'm just not. So I don't do those drills. I do things more like shooting bill drills, shooting doubles, like the things where you get used to just tracking the gun and returning it in recoil and get used to shooting it aggressively again. I think that's far more productive. And I should say, got some footage, and there will be a video coming to a training group for those members about this sort of training.
I like that.
Yeah.
Did you care about the timer at all, Ben, or was it just like do it? It was just like do it correctly.
It's the timer's there as a reference to make sure that I'm shooting, properly fast. So like a 7-yard bill drill, like we know what those times should look like, and the timer is a useful tool to make sure that you're shooting fast. But yeah, it's good. It's every year I go 5-6 months without getting to train, and it kind of sucks. And then this part of the year, I'm never where I should be, that sort of thing. As a side note, it makes me really happy that I don't have to worry about production nationals, because if I was fucking around trying to get a flashlight attached to my gun and get a new holster in the middle of all this, I would be really pissed. That's just an aside.
That makes sense. It was 50s here today, and it rained most of the day, so it's excellent shooting weather here too.
Well, it was 50 when I was out shooting.
Oh,
I can deal with 50. That's fine.
I agree.
Anyway, enough of me yammering. Joel, why don't you hit your topic, and then Jason can be our last guy.
Okay. My topic, I want to talk about the Shooter Summit for Training Group. So it's an event we hold. Well, this will be the second. I say an event we hold every year. This will be the second year we're doing it.
We're not sure it'll happen next year, right?
I hope so.
I mean, come on.
It's basically no money. It's not for profit. So it's $250, which I guess for 3 days, which isn't nothing. But basically, it's just to cover the range fees, targets, pasters, just the supplies. We'll feed everybody food one night. But basically, like, I'm not paying the instructors, like Mr. Kim, Ben, Jason's going to be an instructor this year. Like, we're not paying those guys what they're worth, honestly. They're donating their time. It's a sharing of information. So we'll have, I think I've got 11 guys right now.
11 instructors?
As instructors, yeah. So, like, a quick list: Ben, Kim, me, Matt Hopkins, Andreas Yankopoulos, Steve Newell, Mr. Jason, John Anderson, Lane Grease, Mason Lane, and Rob Epifania. Yeah, Mason's coming. So anyway, a bunch of heavy hitters. It'll be 3 days of. There'll be instructor size or bite-sized instructor blocks, so 2-hour blocks where you can sign up for a class with Mason, Ben, Jason, whoever, Mr. Kim, whoever. You'll have downtime, so we'll have drills set up. The drills change every day, so you could just kind of roam around and make your own fun, and there'll be practice stages set up. So, if you want to shoot a bunch of ammo, you can. If not, there'll be classes that are, dry training, how to dry fire. What am I missing? So anyway, it's just like it's a fun opportunity to meet, train with some top guys, meet, other people if you're a training group member. And
one thing I think last year, the participants really liked just talking to the shooters, the instructors. So I had a lot of questions that people wanted to ask me personally. And actually, there were a couple people who wanted to work on one of my drill, like measurement drill, so we can go to a bay and just work a measurement drill together. That was a really great time too.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're gonna do basically a question and answer block this year. So we put Professor Kim on a bay in the shade, and you just roll over hey, I don't really understand this drill. What's this confirmation thing? I don't understand. And you could pick these guys' brain about shooting, training, stuff you're working on, whatever.
I've been working on this for a while, right, Joel?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not organizing is so much fun, but attending.
I want to do the measurement drill with Wansik.
Yes,
for sure.
And I want to come too.
And I don't know if this matters to people, but we've heard some sponsor involving this year too.
Yes, go ahead.
So yeah, I have 2 sponsors. They personally sponsor me, to Walther and KCI. They also stepped in to send us some stuff. So I think everybody will get something out too.
Yeah, which would be awesome. Like I said, it's basically a not-for-profit sharing, just information, and it's exclusive only to training group members. So.
Yeah, you have to be a member to register for this, and we don't have that many people coming.
Right now, it's fairly low numbers. So
yeah, the ammo shortage is a real thing.
It is.
That's a real problem.
But for the people going, they'll get even more time with national champions or future national champions. So
don't put this pressure on Jason.
I want to let people know that if you have ammo issue, you can definitely do a lot of dry training as well. So if you think, I don't have 3,000 rounds ammo or 2,000 rounds, I think average last time people end up shooting close to 1,000 rounds when they participate the practice bay. I think if you are not participating on the practice bay in live fire, I think you can just bring whatever you have and do a lot of the training as a dry fire too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we've been, we talked about this. Joel and I did that in class. We did a lot of dry fire repetition.
Yeah,
and it was good.
Well, a week and a half ago. Yeah, and people learned a lot by making them, as I say, standing around a perfectly good shooting range, running around with an unloaded gun. You can still learn a lot. So,
yeah, if you're a member, even if you don't have a lot of ammunition, you're going to get to go and watch a lot of people shoot and ask questions for not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. It's well worth it. So,
yeah. I mean, right now the numbers are a tiny percentage of the membership, tiny right now, which is sad. It should be. It'd be cool if it was more, but what can we do?
I'm sure more people sign up, and if not, it's more fun for us.
I'm gonna have fun.
Yes. All right. Well, Mr. Jason, what you got on tap?
I don't know what y'all talked about before I jumped on, but I've been testing out the weapon-mounted light.
Oh, baby!
Yeah, well, I'm so curious to hear about you. I mean, I have a pretty good idea what the findings will be, but
I bet you do. I've tried it a couple times in practice. I even got a holster made for it. I do not see myself running a light.
Tell us more.
Even with the polymer gun.
Even with the polymer gun. I can tell a slight difference, and this is subject to change, but any difference that it does make, I'm more worried about a problem with the light later on. So I'm more worried about the light flying off. I've never ran a light. I have a light on like my home defense guns, but those don't get shot. Let's be real.
Wait, hold on. I just want to like work through the logic here. You're concerned about the light falling off your competition gun, right?
No.
Failing or breaking in some way?
More like failing. If there's going to be a problem, I'm more worried about it failing. And I don't perceive that it offers enough benefit to add one more thing.
Defense gun.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense, Ben. It doesn't have to make sense, Ben.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, so I honestly don't think it makes that big of a difference. I can tell a slight difference, and maybe that's just me. Everybody else, and on the gun I'm shooting, maybe that's just me, but I'm not going to run one.
I've got questions.
Yep.
Jason, we haven't talked about this yet. Tell me about target transitions. You're basically hanging a weight off the end of your muzzle. I mean, let's be real. Is it tougher to like with the gun you're very tuned up with? Are target transitions different, or did you notice a difference?
Well, I jumped in and I heard Ben's thing. I too have just started live firing. I've not done accelerator or El Pres. I basically just went out and done some doubles, and so it made me feel good to hear Ben say those things, because it makes me think, hey, I'm not a complete idiot, that I'm trying to go out there and set personal records on drills after taking 5 months off. So I don't have an answer for that question, but I know what logic tells me is you add extra weight on the gun, it's going to change the way everything moves around.
That was my gut feeling. Yeah.
I did try as well.
But right now I'm not going to.
It makes it. You'd say it makes a big difference, Kim, or no?
First, no. In terms of weight, though, when I shoot carry optic setup, which means 23 rounds in a breast magwell or breast base pad, the weight difference didn't feel like a front heavy. But when I shot 10 rounds with a shorty mag, factory magazine, it definitely felt like it wants to go forward, like forward heavy. Mm-hmm. So I didn't quite like it. But when I actually shot, not thinking about the weight difference, just focusing on the vision part and having the sight there, there was very negligible difference in terms of target transition, in my opinion. When I shot iron sight with the flashlight, I just didn't see any difference. The sight track's about the same, but with the red dot, the sight was a little bit cleaner feel. That was the only difference. But the group size I shoot, split time I shoot, everything was just pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at. So I think it's like, I'm going to run it.
Are you glad that this is inserted into your competition season, Jason, that you get to test flashlights now?
What do you think? I mean, I know the answer is, well, you don't have to run it, but it's like, no, I have to try it. Let's be honest.
No. Like the actual answer is yes, you have to try it because it is a competition and you want your equipment to be optimized. And the people, of course, making the rules don't think that way or understand that or give a fuck. Take your pick. Wait, I don't know. Sorry, not to turn this into one of my crazy rants. Just
that never happened.
I'm in a good mood, man. It might. I'm ready to start throwing bombs.
But
I will restrain myself. All right.
On that note, I bet you have a listener question for us.
Believe it or not, I do, and it's a good one. Good day, Ben and friends. And I should say this guy has a .com.au email address. So you know what that means. He's Australian, so he gets to say good day. He said, I have started to get serious about dry fire, and I do about 30 minutes to an hour a day, done in about 2 to 3 blocks. As a matter of interest, do you guys work on just one drill with variations per session, or do you work on a few different drills during each session? What gets you the best bang for your time investment? And I would bet we're all going to have a similar answer on this, but who wants to take it?
Well, Kim will just knock it out of the park, and we'll have nothing left to say. So we should put Jason up first.
Slacker, so you get to go.
So I would say quickly, without knowing anything else about the guy, if you're new, I would maybe limit what you practice. Do one maybe thing. An hour long is a long time to be practicing nothing but draws. But
this guy's asking what gets you the best bang for your buck.
I like to practice 2 to 3 things.
And for how long?
I don't really put a timer on it until I feel like I've really got it down or gave it a good go or whatever you want to say, until I feel just satisfied that I did it well.
All right. Well, that's good. What about you, Joel?
I would say I will dry fire as long as my hands will take it. Which normal dry fire sessions maybe 20 minutes. Probably
drills?
like you said, three drills or so. Probably 5 to 10 minutes a piece, depending. And it kind of depends on what I want to work on in my live fire. So, or what I'm kind of like currently focused on in training. So I would say bang for buck. Of course, there's going to be things that just kind of always work into the rotation. But maybe right now I'm really working hard on vision skills and not getting sucked on the front sight. So I'll do drills that work on that skill. Go ahead, Ben.
I'll say this. I mean, I think what we're gonna end up with is you work on one thing for 5 or 10 minutes ish, and then you work on another thing, and then you do a few things. I bet the number of things that you do will end up being 3 or 4.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think that's just how people end up doing it once they get pretty experienced. Because you're gonna get bored if you do the same thing for half an hour, and you can't do 10 things. That's too much shit. It ends up being like 5-ish minutes, 10 minutes, maybe a thing, depending on what it is, until you get bored and want to move on.
Yep. Yeah. And maybe some other people are like stronger than me or whatever, but dry firing for an hour, I don't understand. Because at the end, my hands are like shredded from the gun. They're so tired. Like I'm not gripping the gun like I would if I was firing live ammo. So it's just really not productive at, that point. So I get to the point where my hands have had enough, or I feel like I'm like starting to get sore, tender, ripped up. I can't grip the gun hard anymore. That's time to call it.
Mr. Kim, what do you think? You probably do like 2-3 hours a day or something.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to do many hours, usually 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening type of a thing. Right now, I do more of a 30 minutes to maximum of 1 hour per day, but I categorize it into 2 groups. So non-compromisable is one thing I work on. I call it non-compromisable, and then the other one is compromisable. What I mean by that is, so first, non-compromisable is something that I prioritize. So if I only have 10 to 15 minutes, I can dry fire for like, even before a match too. I don't want to spend too much time. Then that first 10 to 15 minutes, I call that non-compromisable, where it's focusing more on hand-eye coordination, meaning how fast you need to move your vision target to target, or exactly where do you need to look at it, the focal depth change part, if I'm shooting iron sight, whether I'm shooting target focus or side focus, something like that, the vision part, and also hand just following where I'm looking at. So mainly it's the presentation part, where it could be after draw or reload, or after position entry when you break your grip and regrip, present it to the target. That's one sector. And target transition sector, those two are the big main components. And then after that 10 to 15 minutes, it's now compromisable ones, meaning I can compromise what I want, what I can work on that day. I usually have a topic for either the whole week, or it could be a whole year. Actually, I usually have yearly goal in technique. So if, for example, last year was more of a tracking component, position entry, track the A zone as I'm entering kind of thing. So in the compromisable sessions, I would usually do 2 sections. It could be 1, but if I do only 1, it's always the yearly goal. And then after time left over, do another 15 minutes of something else. For example, it could be something I'm weak at, or it could be something that I want to push in the shooting and the move could be. So those get changed. But that non-compromisable section, where I'm just focusing on hand-eye coordination, moving the gun precisely target, confirming the right amount, vision thing, that never changes. So that's all year, many years, never change.
Damn. Okay, so
Down to
your
a
attitude
science.
is a little different than ours. God damn. So complicated, man. You think about stuff a lot. I am not smart enough to.
He is always thinking about shooting. That's why we call him the professor.
That's true. I think about shooting a lot.
Does anybody have anything to add to any of this? No? All right. Well, in that case, it is time for us to end. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, go to benstecker.com. Send me your questions. We'd love to chat about it. There we go. Let's